Alright, y'all, so I'm about to show y'all how I lost around $4,200 today. So I'm about to explain to y'all how that happened. A couple of trades have been losses, and this just pushed us on 3. So right now, that's all my fault though. I blame nobody but myself. As far as this trade breakdown, I'm gonna first show y'all my mistake, and then I'm gonna show y'all how I could have avoided this loss. So first things first, my job is to identify structure on the daily time frame and make sure I have like the daily time frame, 4-hour, and a 1-hour time frame. We have those structures down, right? So on the daily time frame, as I was drawing out structure, I messed up because when I was drawing out structure, I then marked this area off as structure. Personally, me, I don't believe this is structure. It's ugly, and I typically just ignore it, and I just continue to draw out structure, but I didn't do so. So what I did was I used that structure point as structure. I then saw price have the continuation move towards the upside, break structure up here, and then price have this push, this bearish move towards the downside. We have this structure as well, and then again, I don't mark this off because it's just ugly. So when I drag this over here, right, to the naked eye, this is a really good setup. We have the breaker structure, which happened up top. We had this breaker structure happen. So I saw my higher high being here. I saw my higher low being here. And then we see the breaker structure, the switcher structure, I should say, going from bullish to bearish, which now we transition down like so. This turns into my lower low. This is my new lower high. This is my new lower high, and I can actually just delete this breaker structure as for right now. And then price continues. We have the breaker structure, lower high, lower low, breaker structure, lower high, and then potential lower low depending on wherever this stops to form the retracement, right? So looking at price like so, yeah, this is good structure. There's no problem. No, because if I were to draw out the correct structure, I would see that this is nothing. This is not structure. I don't draw it. Continue. And then as I continue, I don't mark this off. This is also ugly structure, so I don't draw it. So now when I have structure drawn out like so, if we drag it back, let's just drag it right here. If I drag it right here, I see now I have the original higher high. The higher high and higher low don't change. It's still the same point, right? And then I see that we have the break of structure going from bullish to bearish. So again, we see price go from bullish to bearish. This becomes that lower low, and then this becomes that lower high. So now we see beautiful structure like so, and then we have lower low until price forms that pullback. So price at the moment formed a pullback looking like so. So now I have my last break of structure happening to be here. Off of the daily time frame, I see that I'm not even at a structure point on the daily time frame. At the moment, price has recently gave me a breaker structure, but we're currently at the lowest point in the market, not showing me any sign of counter trend opportunities just yet. So therefore, I shouldn't look for a sell when I'm in no man's land. I have no structure. I shouldn't be trading. This is something that you don't do. Instead, I continue to trade, which pushed us to losing $4,200. But let's continue and let's draw out correct structure overall. So instead of me having these points set up, my lower high will move up to being here. My recent breaker structure will be around here. I would then have this as my recent breaker structure. I would then have my lower low being here. So now when we look at the market, this is what we should be looking like in the market. This is beautiful, beautiful structure. So now if I go into replay mode and we look at the market when we were looking to execute, we see that price had the push. We started to have that pullback in the market, and then it had another push towards the downside. Me looking for sales right now, it doesn't make sense. Therefore, there's no valid setup in play. But yet, I did not see that, and I used this ugly structure point as structure when it shouldn't have been structure, and we ended up losing this trade. If I continue, the 4-hour and the 1-hour was doing what we needed to do. If I break it down, right, on the 4-hour time frame, we see price go from this bearish to bullish to back bearish due to the breakout of this higher low. So we perform this breaker structure, and as soon as price perform this breaker structure on the 4-hour, we go to the 1-hour. We're doing the exact same thing. We see that, right? We see the 4-hour break bearish, and now we're having a pullback towards that recent area of interest on the 1-hour time frame, which also allowed the 4-hour, like y'all see, to have that pullback as well. So what I'm looking for, we're at an area where if I'm even being honest, I don't even like how this area looks. It's just not the cleanest. Slight resistance, slight support. So we're at an area of interest. And so now it's time for me to wait for price to get back below to find that entry. So that's exactly what we did. We had the 5 minute go from bearish to bullish to allow the higher time frames to form the pullback. We then see price go from bullish back bearish and allowing us to see our entry. You see, with the moment price broke these 5 minute lows, it left us with that bearish engulfing, which I found my entry stops above. And since I'm using my 1 hour area of interest as my entry zone, I'm using a 1 hour lows for my take profit, bringing back a 2-to-1 if price plays out. So if I stay on a lower time frame, we see price push all the way towards our TP1. You can see we hit TP1 around here. I called it out in the Discord right here, and then price just reversed and hit our stop loss. But again, I know why I hit my stop loss, because of the structure that wasn't correctly drawn out on the daily time frame, which is fine. But now, in order for us to capitalize on this position, I see what? I see that price is in the correct overall structure. We're still bearish, but at the moment we're at these lows. Price just formed this bullish engulfing, our entry signal, on the daily time frame, which pushed the 4 hour time frame to perform another break of structure around here, going from bearish back bullish. And the moment price presented us with this break of structure on the 4 hour, the 1 hour is doing the exact same thing on its own given time frame. We see on the 1 hour time frame, we went from this bullish to bearish to now back bullish trend, breaking out of our lower high and performing the last structure break here. So knowing that that last structure break is around there, I then draw out this zone like so. And what I am currently waiting on is for price to form some type of pullback towards this 1 hour area of interest. If we have this pullback on the 1 hour, this will allow the 4 hour to form the pullback toward that recent breaker structure, showing us the break and retest as well, while also having the rejection already towards the daily lows. You can see 1 rejection, 2 rejections, 3 rejections, 4 rejections towards the zone. If I go back towards the daily time frame, we have been treating this area as support so many times, right? We see that. We see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rejections towards the zone as support. So it's a high probability of price bouncing from this area again to continue back towards the upside. So I am looking for entries on NTD CAD. We're going to see what happens come later tonight. If that happens, I'll throw that clip in there. But if not, so be it. We just lost this trade and we'll go on about our day. So that's how I lost $4,200. That's how I trade. And yeah, hope you learned something from it.